They say that history is written by the victors. But it doesn't mean the other side of the story is forgotten.
There were a series of wars across the continent.
There's a myth that Aboriginal people didn't fight back.
Aboriginal people start to fight fire with fire.
Coming to you from Alice Springs, and I'm sorry I couldn't be there tonight, but I'm back home in Oranda country. I wanted to give my sincere thanks to the History Council of New South Wales for this citation in recognition of Professor Henry Reynolds' work and mine, particularly on this series, The Australian Wars. Obviously, we wouldn't have been able to make this series without the extraordinary contribution from historians around Australia who, as you know, often work over decades without pay or recognition to go through the archives and bring this history to light so that people like me can then use their work and translate it into content for Australian audiences on television. And so without the work of historians, my work wouldn't be possible. And of course, the Indigenous people who also carry this history passed down through their families over generations. So my appreciation to all those contributors, and including Stephen Gapps, who is, I believe, the chair of the History Council of New South Wales, who made an enormous contribution to this show. Thank you, Stephen. But in particular, I wanted to recognise Professor Henry Reynolds, whose book I read, The Other Side of the Frontier, of course, that groundbreaking work in 1988, and it was life-changing for me. And to work with him now, when our country, I believe, is on the cusp of great change, and bring this history to the fore has been just the great, honour of my life. So thank you very much, everybody, for this citation, and I hope you have a great evening. And again, sorry I can't be there with you to celebrate history and bringing it to the Australian people. Thanks very much.
This brings together both written history and the extraordinary work of Blackfella Films in making use of the historian's work to give it to a much wider audience, far wider than most writers get, and that is very important. But let me say that I've worked with a lot of filmmakers over the years, and there's no doubt in my mind that Rachel and her team are the most professional group that I've ever had to work with. They are so accomplished. And so I'm delighted that she has been recognised too. And it gives recognition, I think, to the important role that quality television can play in, indeed, truth-telling.
This story deserves to be remembered.
The Australian Wars starts Wednesday, 21st of September on SBS and NITV.